Well, because you're seeking what we would call in my field of work an essentialist definition.
I'm sure many of you guys have already seen Matt Walsh's recent documentary called What is a Woman? And I've made a number of videos on this subject. If you haven't checked out those videos, make sure you click here and you go check out the videos I've made on that. They're kind of breakdowns of what we mean philosophically when we ask for definitions and how to navigate some of these conversations. And today, I'm going to focus on one of these things that is a bit more philosophical that came out of the documentary. So let's go.
Just trying to start by getting to the truth, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really uncomfortable with that language of getting to the truth. Again,
If I probe about what the truth is?
You keep invoking the word truth, which is condescending and rude.
I think it's important for us to realize that truth matters. And at the very bottom of this conversation about transgenderism is a conversation about truth. If we deprive the word of its meaning, or if we take on an ideology that says there is no such thing as truth, then yeah, there is no such thing as gender and people can decide what they want to be and it's all fluid and stuff like that. But if there is a thing called truth, then we need to discover what that is on every subject that we can possibly discover the truth. So here in the interview, Matt Walsh asks a college professor about truth. And it's very telling when he begins to answer it and the sorts of answers he tries to give to it and even the reaction he has.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really uncomfortable with that language of getting to the truth.
Well, the reason this individual is actually uncomfortable with getting at the truth or to the truth, I suppose, is because he doesn't actually think that there is such a thing as truth. And so if there's no such thing as a truth, or there's no such thing as truth, then you can't really get to that truth.
Well, we're in a university. This is a place of understanding truth, isn't it? Or
absolutely, we pursue truth. Keep invoking the word truth, which is condescending and rude.
I assume that this individual actually thinks there is a truth to the whole gender question in this sense. I assume he thinks that people can say whatever gender they feel like being, and that should be taken as the truth of it. He actually says that. He goes on to say when somebody says they are a certain gender, you should just trust them, meaning that's the truth.
When someone else tells you that they're a man, or even if they use the word male, why are you concerned with not believing them?
What is a woman?
I want you guys to pay very close attention to the answer that this gentleman gives. The answer is that a woman is someone who identifies as a woman. He thinks that's a proper definition. There's a reason for that. We'll go into that in a little bit.
Well, for me, it's actually a really simple answer, and that's a person who identifies as a woman.
But what are they identifying as?
As a woman.
But what is that?
As a woman.
So I've dealt with this in one or two of my other videos. But if I say I identify as a certain thing, whatever that may be, say it's a cup or it's a camera lens, we need to first know what a cup and a camera lens, and in this case, what a woman is, in order for me to identify as that thing. That's the problem here, and that's the circularity here. This is why you can't do what he's doing. Look, maybe some Joe Schmo could be doing this, but this guy is a college professor who goes and says this kind of stuff in classrooms.
Do you know what a circular definition is?
I do.
It's sort of like what you're doing right now, where a woman is a woman.
Mm-hmm. Well, because you're seeking what we would call in my field of work an essentialist definition of gender. I think it sounds like you would like me to give you a set of biological or cultural characteristics that are associated with one gender or the other.
This part of the conversation doesn't really continue. Matt Walsh doesn't dive deep into it. But as someone who studied philosophy, it really stood out to me that, oh, Matt, you're looking for an essentialist definition. And here's what essentialism basically teaches in philosophy. Essentialism is a metaphysical theory that objects have essences, and that there is a distinction between essential and non-essential or accidental predictions. That's from the Cambridge Dictionary of Philosophy. Notice there are two components here. Things that are essential to a thing, or properties that are essential to a thing, and then things that are accidental to a thing. And I think generally within the gender studies world, specifically when it comes to essentialism and gender studies, there's a confusion between these things. There's a confusion between what is essential to being a woman and what is accidental to being a woman. Check out the following statement. In the 1960s and 1970s, feminist and gender theorists began to introduce frameworks for understanding gender and sex that called the foundations of gender essentialism into question. These emerging ideas pointed to the fact that how we understand and experience gender is heavily influenced by systems, beliefs, and observed patterns in a given community or society. For example, the belief that only women wear dresses, the color pink is for girls, and that women are less mathematically capable than men are rooted in how we as a society understand and treat gender. The examples given in this article, which you can find in the description box below, are examples that deal primarily with accidental properties. They are not a thing that deal with essential properties. Essential properties here might be things like biology, not things like whether all women like the color pink. See how that's sort of a straw man argument that these people are producing. And this professor, talking about Walsh, is extremely unwilling to go there.
I'm not seeking any type of definition. I'm just seeking a definition.
Yeah, and I gave you one.
So the definition he provides is actually not a definition, regardless of what he says. And yes, he needs to give an essentialist definition, because to talk about accidental properties of a thing and reject those, and then say, therefore, that thing could be defined a different way, or doesn't have any essential properties, is actually not a proper answer. So if I define a pen as a writing instrument which uses ink, say that's the essence of a pen, but the way I would go against its penness, let's say, is rejecting that all pens need to be 12 inches and pink, is not an argument against whether all pens are writing instruments that use ink. That's what these gender studies folks are doing. They are basically defining what it means to be a woman based on accidental properties, which seems pretty sexist to me. Rejecting those accidental properties as essential properties to being a woman, and then saying there are no such thing as essential properties to being a woman. So the question still remains, what is a woman? And yes, you need to give a definition, not only of the humanity of that woman, say all women are humans, but you also need to give some more properties of what that looks like. And just to reject the accidental properties, say some women are more masculine and less masculine than others, those would be accidental properties, is not an argument against gender essentialism. Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure to like, subscribe, share this video out, and I will see you next time. Take care and God bless.